start an introduction.
Go ahead, go for it.
Hi. That's,
You got more?
nah, that's pretty much it. I'm David. I know that part. That's the one I can get right.
And I'm Jen. And we have been a little off or out of sorts. I don't know what you call it. Last week was kind of crazy. We didn't even get a video done because we just had random things going on, trying to be a support system for others. Also,
we're a little short on office staff recently, and Jen and I are trying to just take up that slack, and what's left us with a whole bunch of paperwork and things that I really hate doing.
Yes.
It drains the creativity out of my brain, and I'm like, oh, now I gotta go put flowers together. So
yeah, and we just haven't really been motivated, I guess, to do some of it because
it's the spreadsheets and the going over the finances and the paperwork and you got all the HR stuff. So
it sucks the life out of you sometimes.
It does.
But we're here today, and
we're gonna power through.
We're gonna power through, and we hope that you like the ideas that we've come up with for you. This episode's going to be all about...
Really, it's about wedding flowers. But it's kind of, you know, it's interesting because wedding flowers can kind of be like interior trends also. A lot of people gather their trends from... you know, usually it filters down once it's popular in weddings and clothing. It then becomes more of an interiors thing. So we're going to go over some of those trends that we've been seeing lately.
Let's get started.
So traditional wedding flowers, people are going to think of course, things like cream roses. And, you know, creams are always a very easy staple thing to go with. But we're going to go over 5 different looks that you can use for weddings. So one of them we're going to talk about is kind of creams. So this has become very popular in the last couple of years. But it's creams, but it has a lot of like dried style of flowers, and it has a lot of different textures because we've got, like in this one, we've got the artificial bunny tail, we've got some foxtail, we've got different pom-poms, lots of different shapes, the little dried protea style, and you know, this is just kind of one of those things that a lot of the younger girls that really like the boho style that's really very popular in interiors. You know, they like all this very flowy kind of thing. These bleached silver dollar eucalyptus that just have that little bit of a blush tint to them. And it's very free-flowing. It's not very structured. And I'm not really going to put all this together for you. I'm just kind of giving you an example of some of the colors and the styles, the shapes that are really kind of been trending. So this kind of boho style has really been something that we've been using a lot of pampas grass. And I've kind of gone away a little bit from some of the pampas grass and tried to mix in some foxtail and some bunnytail, different things that are they're going to be similar to that style and similar to that that texture that people really like, and soften things up without going completely toward all pampas because you want to mix a lot of that textures up. But just kind of shades of things really work well in that. And then along the same lines, we have this deeper color, this kind of almost like a Leonidas colored rose, really a deep dusty rose color, and we've even got some like almost burgundy tones in here with some of the eucalyptus and these seeded bunch. And these are really great, like if you're planning to do some things for a wedding and you want to buy some artificial because it looks great and you can hang on to it and use it for different things, and you can mix fresh flowers into some of these things. But you might want to use something, you know, along these lines. These actually come in a little bouquet. I think we call this a foxtail eucalyptus seeds bundle. So it's got a lot of seeded things. But those make a great little start. So we've got like a couple of bouquets. And really, simple to just kind of spread this out. And then you can add whatever you want into it. So it's not super complicated to really work with some of these things. You don't have to be that intimidated. You know, you can just kind of keep adding what you feel like you need to add. You don't have to be 100% an expert. Bouquets are fairly simple. I mean, there is a pattern that you can use that you're supposed to use, but when you're using artificial, really, you can just kind of bundle this together and zip tie it together. It's not that complicated. You could throw a little bunny tail in here or something to kind of lighten that up if you wanted to. But this kind of goes along with this boho style. This is just this deeper coloration that we've seen a lot of. Recently, people have opted for more color than they have necessarily some of the like creams and traditional light pinks, blush pinks as of late. So speaking of colorful, we kind of went all out with this color combination. We've got some like deep plum, raspberry kind of colors, some different shades of yellows and oranges, this kind of coral pink shades in here. And we've got protea, we've got a little bit of this like a fresh green with the pink tips and the hydrangea, a little bit of this fern stem that's got some different coloration in it. It's got some gray, some light green, and then it's got a little bit of like a, I'd call it kind of a raspberry colored tip in it. And this kind of reads to me very tropical. But at the same time, we've seen a lot of this kind of color combination going on for weddings. People are going completely the opposite direction for weddings somewhat and going away from the bleached out colors and the very cream colors and the blush pinks toward, I want something very bright, bold, and colorful. So we are using a lot of these kind of color combinations for that thing, for weddings, and you know, would be great if you're getting married on the beach, or, you know, people are using these for just about everything if you're getting married in a barn in your backyard. So we're going to show you how to use some of these pieces after I go through showing you all the different color combinations. So one thing that I really love is monochromatic colors, and this is kind of a semblance of that we've got a lot of these plum shades and these dried purple colors with some of this plum seeded eucalyptus, and then we've got some of our more like rose pink foxtail and just some thistle, and then we've got these like really deep, we're calling this plum in this little cabbage rose, but I think that this is very easy to accomplish. So if you're worried about some of your color combinations, you can always kind of just play off of one color, mix in a lot of different shades and some different textures that would work well together. And these plum purple kind of colors have worked really well for us, not even just in weddings, but we've used a lot of it for our Christmas themes. Last year we had our one of our plum colored Christmas themes was very popular, and I think you would be working kind of in a trending color to use this. So moving on to something that I really enjoy, and that's kind of a modern take on traditional things, because I like some traditional things, but I also like to give those a little bit of a twist and very different things. So a lot of people using eucalyptus right now, this sagey gray-green kind of color combination. And this is a really nice piece, this silver dollar eucalyptus. These are actually like a laser printed double-sided leaf that feels very soft to touch. And that's just a great piece to add to a lot of different things. And then we've got kind of a willow eucalyptus style in a similar color. And I've added a little bit of this like mountain laurel seeded in here, but you can do a lot with just foliages. And one thing that a lot of people I've seen recently are doing is just very free flowing, which is why I was saying you don't necessarily have to be an expert in this kind of thing. Just keep it kind of loose. And then I really love this fig branch. I've used this in a lot of arrangements in the retail store recently, and I just really think that's something very unusual, very interesting. So just for some different textures, some different something unusual in a bouquet, I would be perfectly willing to add some of my fig branch into that. And then this dried rose bundle. These are not real dried roses, but they feel just like real dried roses. They look just like real dried roses. I would use this in a heartbeat as opposed to real dried roses, which are great. I have no problems with them. They're a little harder to use because they are a little fragile. These you can just kind of bend in whatever shape you want. You can mix your foliages into these. No problem, because they have wire in them. You can kind of bend them in the shape that you want them to go. But I really like the idea of just doing this very like botanically based bouquet with some of these cream roses and just mixing in a lot of this eucalyptus, just to give you some, you know, different colorations and textures, and just something that's very wild and wispy and free. And then if you wanted to add a little bit more, you could always use some of this, like our little status spray. It's kind of like looks a little like a dried baby's breath. Some of the gypsophilia things have been really popular, but just something really wild and flowing. We've seen a lot of people going away from very super structured, compact bouquets and just going for something that's just really like you picked it out of the yard, out of your garden, and you've cut it and you've placed it together, and it works really well like that. I'm going to be showing you more of a centerpiece style that we can do with, like I said, one of my favorite color combinations. And this is a lantern that we're going to be getting in later in April, I think, but soon. And so I like this one because we can kind of place the flowers around the base as opposed to trying to put flowers inside of a lantern. And because it has this hurricane globe on it, it's going to work really well, because if you had a candle, you would want some separation between your artificial pieces and your candle. And we can just bend our stems so that they fit nicely inside the little tray that's perfect inside this lantern. If you want to, you can cut some pieces. Just cut some smaller branches. We're just gonna loosely, like I said, loose, and like you just cut something out of your garden. Works really great right now. We just want to make sure we kind of go all the way around our container and not just on one side. So the last thing we're going to do is we're going to use our little rose bundle bouquet that works great. It's great length for bouquets if you're going to use it for bouquets, but for this purpose we're going to use them separated out for just to place in our little lantern arrangement here, just to give you some nice focal point. But you've got different sizes of buds, which is a good mix to give you some variety. It makes them look much more real, fresh, than if they're all exactly the same size. Here is our finished piece. You can see it kind of goes all the way around. Some slight variation. There's going to be a little more willow eucalyptus on one side, a little more of the silver dollar on the other. But this is just an easy piece to kind of put together, and you don't have to glue anything. You can take all of this apart once you're done and do something else with it if you need to. So for this one, we're actually going to be using our antique mercury glass style. This is our Corinth column lantern. So these work great for just candles inside of them because the glow really works well with the silver and gold on the outside. But at the same time, they're not just for candles. These work really great for if we're going to be doing some of our arrangements. So got our seeded hydrangea bouquet. And we can just drop that in there, don't have to necessarily cut those or even separate them. And then we're gonna separate a few of these other things, like in our seed foxtail eucalyptus bundle here. So we just got a few individual pieces. We're gonna cut those to different lengths just to give them some variety, but you can be really inexperienced and do some of these things for yourself. It's not really that hard, especially once you've got like your seeded hydrangea bouquet. That's going to let me use the shapes fairly easily because I can kind of fill in around those. Just remember to get some kind of going straight up or similar, close to straight up. And then we've got our kind of a Leonidas shaded rose. I think we're calling it Dusty Rose. And these have thorns on them, so do be aware of that. But we can tuck those down in here. And then we're going to add just a few pieces of our pampas grass to keep that nice and flowing. Let that kind of spill over the edge a little bit. Add just a little bit of our bunny tail pieces into that. These look just like the real dried bunny tail, but you don't have to worry about breaking them as much. But if you're a fan of that dried pampas and bunny tail, sorghum, and all those things, these are a great addition. And you don't have to have a lot, just enough to kind of lighten that up just a little bit. And then we can, you want to raise some of these up just a hair to get a little more height. But that's going to be a great centerpiece for your tables. For this one, for our colorful style, which actually reminds me a lot of the bouquet I kind of made for our wedding when I married Jen. So she had a bouquet that was pretty colorful, and I don't think has any regrets. Maybe?
No. I don't have any regrets. I love my bouquet.
So we're going to be using our patinaed style container here. And, again, we're looking at that kind of a centerpiece style. And we're going to keep this kind of flowy.
That would help you with some tags.
Always good to have somebody helping with tags.
Just remember, they David cuts these up to different sizes, and sometimes I think people are afraid to cut things up and they think they have to use it the length that it is, but you don't have to do that.
Very few things do I leave the length they are.
Yeah, I've noticed that. You cut almost everything that you use.
Sometimes I will cut them out of habit, even if I only take like a ½ an inch off, just because I'm used to cutting everything. Kind of OCD or something.
And this arrangement would be pretty on a table, your kitchen table, or your bar area, because it does look fresh picked. These look similar to some of the flowers that you used in my wreath on the front door.
I think some of them are.
These flowers, you can't kill them.
That's a good thing about it.
You don't have to water them. You don't have to worry about them getting enough sun. They're fairly easy to clean. If they do get a little dusty, you can always take a damp cloth and dust them off.
Yeah.
Or some kind of, I wonder if you could take your blow dryer on cool setting and blast them just to,
Absolutely.
if you don't have an air compressor, that you use that as well.
Everybody doesn't just have an air compressor laying on.
No, but most people have a hair dryer. We always get a lot of questions too about wire cutters, and these wire cutters are just ones that they're Irwin brand vice grips from probably,
I think those are from Lowe's.
Lowe's.
Irwin brand is Lowe's brand. Or
yeah. We're actually working on releasing a video soon, one of our courses on tools that you need for this trade. And I think that will be super helpful. I've been having, it's a fairly large file, and it's about an hour-long course. I've been having trouble getting it uploaded how it needs to be uploaded, so, but we're working on that. For those of you that like our Christmas videos and things of that nature, David, when are we going to start releasing those?
Probably in July, I would think.
Christmas in July?
Yeah. We gotta have Christmas in July.
I just need to get some scissors. To keep everybody entertained while I was gone.
Sure.
David would prefer to do all silent videos.
Silent films. Man, I would have been great at silent films.
Yeah.
If they had silent awkward films. That's typecasting.
Sometimes they're nice though. You can just play some music in the background and people can watch you do. We do that sometimes for Christmas trees and things that you make.
Yeah.
Mainly because we don't have time for anything else at that particular point. It's like I'm running here and there, crazy. You set up the camera, do a silent film, basically. There have been a number of weddings that we have done where the bridesmaids, all of their bouquets are used in the tabletop pieces. David has made those before where you can just take the bouquet as is and drop it into a container, and that saves you money and resources.
Yeah.
Because you get double the use out of the bouquet instead of just the bridesmaid having to carry it around, keep up with it the rest of the night.
And what are they going to do with it?
true.
We're nearing the end here, and we just want to make sure that we've got kind of a nice balance of colors all through. So I'm going to add one more orange to this side because I've got kind of orange on some of the other sides. And the most important thing is that you balance the colors, not necessarily that you have one of these here and, you know, they don't have to be exact numbers or odd numbers or whatever. Odd numbers work. A little bit more of this pink.
And there you have it. 3 different color trends that we've been seeing. Some easy ways to put together your bouquet. Basically, you just said you could do those loosely, just bunch them together. And then some ways to use that same color combinations in decor for your wedding or your event.
Yeah, and I think what you were talking about earlier was when we make a bouquet kind of like this, and then we have a vase that's kind of like this, and we just, you know, we just drop that down in the vase to make a centerpiece.
If you check out the description, you're going to find a link to our website. You're also going to find a link to all the items that you saw in today's video. So if you saw something that you really like, you're not going to have to spend a ton of time trying to find it. Just click on that link. It'll take you to a collection where each of these things are made up. If you're watching this video before April 2023, this lantern is a pre-ordered item. We do sell wholesale and retail. So if you have your own business and you want to purchase these florals to make up things to sell in your store, or maybe you're running an event center and you...
Business.
Yeah, event business. I was going to say event venue and business, so it came out event business. A business. So anyway, I'll stop now because I've got to get back to more administrative tasks. Joy.
So thanks for joining us. I hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll see you next time. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button because we'll bring you more ideas like this, and if you didn't like it, you can still subscribe.
That's right. Yeah, just
It won't hurt our feelings.
don't think that's how it works.
And as the light startled our eyes, we let go of disguise. And now there's something in the air and a sparkly shimmer on our skin. Out of sand.